we're talking sun to sun, 'cause he's my He's my best friend. He's my best friend. 'Cause he's my best friend. Burn it down.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Undisputed after I think a 3-week hiatus we've been on now since the last episode. It's been a little bit. As you can see, Shawn is not here with us. He is off doing Shawn things. But we do have the Blurred Hulk from the Marvel Tribe, but also our newest co-host here on Undisputed. David, how are you doing, man?
I am doing fantastic, man. Rocking my year-round tan, just enjoying life.
Heck yeah, man. How was your turkey day?
Dude, it was good. Fried up a turkey. I have a weird story. I don't know if this is an almond. Is that what they say? Almonds?
Omen?
So on Turkey Day, so I'm in Medford, beautiful Oregon. Live in a very steady area. You know, we've been in our house forever and stuff. And I kid you not, on Thanksgiving, on the Turkey Day, hours before I was about to fry my bird, I had a dozen live turkeys just kind of frolicking around in my front yard. I wasn't sure if it was a good omen, bad omen, if it was a miracle, or if it was a threat. Like there was a gang of turkeys. I don't know if they're trying to send a warning to me not to fry their cousin. I fried them anyway, and that bastard was delicious. So.
Dude, the my favorite part of Thanksgiving is turkey. Like, I love turkey. Like, I'm always intrigued on like the different sides that people make with Thanksgiving, but like turkey, it's my favorite. And unfortunately for me, I was just a few days out of the hospital, so I was eating light. Everybody was just ladling it on their plate, murdering it. I'm like, and I'm eating just like Costco free samples of everything on my plate, and I was miserable. Yeah.
Well, at least you weren't eating turkey pudding, right? The turkey
No. Yeah, everything was legit, but it was baby sized portions, except for the deviled eggs. The deviled eggs, I couldn't stay away from. I was aggressively eating those.
Yeah, that's my weakness right there.
But yeah, man. But again, welcome to Undisputed, man. I'm stoked that you're here. I
am too. I'm so glad I got invited to come be a permanent fixture and be a host, and so I'm happy for this.
If there's ever one person that could hop in the group chat and really keep a conversation going, you're one of them, man. Before we get started, though, we want to thank our sponsors. I'm going to start with them first, since I usually butcher them and forget them. We want to thank Where in the Park, Kevin and Amanda, for always helping out here on the show, showing us all the cool tips and tricks in the parks. We also want to make sure we shout out Designer Park Co. and Getaway Today, and we'll be hearing from Getaway Today later on in the show. But we also want to thank our lamplighters, our Patreons. We got Tyler, Keith, Robin, Aiden, David, Marianne, and Jennifer. So normally I have the show notes for all the topics ready, but that intro part, I never have it ready, and I murder it. So today I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it all laid out so we're clean and ready to go. So to give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what we're doing tonight, we have 3 topics. We have our main discussion, which is our Rotten Apple or Pixie Duster. We're going to be talking about a few things Disney. Our opening segment, we're not going to do over, under, just right. We got a new game called What Do You Smell When You Hear This?
Ooh, okay.
What do you think that by the title of that? It's a play on words, but when you hear that, what do you think? It's what do you smell when
I'm gonna
you
be honest. I'm thinking your favorite human being on the planet, The Rock. And I
Ah,
said that because I know how much you love The Rock and you want to be like The Rock. So it makes
oh,
sense that you would create this segment.
oh. How's it going? Robin Sean says he's on his way. No. So what do you smell when you hear this? It goes off the play of when people talk smack about something and you're like, smells like a hater. And it's because they said something, but now it smells like a hater. So I got 5 Disney-ish words that are commonly used in the community, but I want to get yours and those that are watching your guys' opinion. So some of them are words, some of them are little segments. But when a person says this, what do you think they mean? So first one, the magic's gone. When you hear the average Disney fan say that magic is gone, what does that bring to you? What is that when you hear that? What type of feeling? What do you think they're really meaning? Because this one I hear a lot, especially right now, that the magic is gone.
So, all right. Okay. I see what you're saying. So when I hear somebody say the magic is gone, it's weird, but I hear, I don't know if I've just been drinking a little too much, but I hear a guy who can't enjoy life. Like this is a person who doesn't understand the value of a pickle. Like this is a person who like eats bland foods. I smell mayonnaise when I hear that. So that's what I hear.
Now,
I don't
just
know
to
if that's what
clarify,
you're
did you
trying to
say
get at.
mayonnaise or mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise.
Okay, that's it. For a minute
the
there,
white salad dressing stuff.
for a minute that it said mayonnaise. I was like, well, all right, that's aggressive. So Sean says means they aren't true Disney fans.
Well,
So
that's one take.
I hear this a lot. The magic's gone, and when I hear it, I immediately go to people that 3 things. 1, they don't go to the parks, if ever or at all.
Mm-hmm.
2, they're Facebook warriors, which means the headlines say Disney's done this, and they immediately say, "Oh, Disney's done that."
Yep.
So, or I instantly think of my last one. And this is my favorite one. They remember Disney when they were a kid, and therefore that's all they're going off of. Is nope, it's not like that anymore, and which is hard to believe because my kids go there. The only time my kids hate Disney is when I make them go on rides that I like and not them. But other than that, though, man, their mouths drop to the floor every time we go. We've been there a handful of times, and they're still starstruck. But yeah, so that's the first one. The magic is gone.
Okay.
All right. Here's another one.
Hit me.
All right. Walt's not dead.
Man, get your tinfoil hats out because this is the oh my god. I'm not
Now,
even gonna
I paraphrase this one because a lot of people assume that Walt, I mean, not a lot of people, but there are some. I found some theories. Now, this is going down a rabbit hole, finding these little like contexts, but there is some theories out there that, yes, they do need to tap into the inner child. Absolutely. There are some theories out there now. I don't know how legit they are, but they're growing. But that like Walt is like aliens to Area 51, that he's a paid actor. I mean, now granted, these are off of like Joe Blow websites, so I just brought him on to stir the pot, of course. But yeah, that Walt's not dead, meaning he's was never here.
Let's walk because I don't jump down that rabbit hole at all. But let me just walk down it and just ask some questions. It's in the realm of ridiculousness. Okay, so what? First of all, why would Walt fake his own death and not enjoy the fruits of his labor and stuff? Why would Walt be a freaking multi-mega billionaire today, can do whatever he want? I mean, he could, go to that weird island when that weird dude that did his own thing, which is weird. He could be kicking it with Elon Musk. He could be in a rocket. He could have Walt being alive today, Walt would be doing some really cool geriatric shit. So it just doesn't make sense. There's no purpose for him to like what would be the point of him faking his death? What?
Absolutely. And when I was reading this little article, so this article was going that Walt. I mean, it's also the same. It's the same website. I should have said the website name, but the website also has an article that says Eminem died 20 years ago, and that Eminem we're seeing today is not the actual one. I've heard that rumor, but I was like, wow, this website is just really gets the people going. But I mean, if he was alive today, I feel like he'd want to show it versus not show it, like stay hidden. So I agree with you. But of course, when I saw this one, I was like, dude, I was hoping Shawn will be here for this segment because he's the one that says there's no one else like Walt. So I was hoping he'd be here for this part. But I mean, all right, here's the last one before we get into our juicy topics.
Well, all I'm gonna say, if Walt was alive today, Disney would be sponsoring like boner pills, like whatever the stuff that geriatrics or boomers are into and stuff nowadays.
They're called hard magic.
Yeah. Well, Disneyland and Disney World will close at 2 a.m. because you have to get ready for dinner and all that stuff. There will be a big giant green carpet in front of both of the resorts, and there will be a paid person to yell at people to get off my lawn. I mean, we wouldn't have the Disneyland that Disney resorts or Disney amusement places that we have today. It would be a very different type of thing and stuff. Yeah, you'll see like a lot of older geriatrics going through the Small Wonder attractions, asking each of the animatronics, "Are you my grandchild? Come sit on my lap. Let me tell you a story about the good old days." Like it would be a weird Disney Land, Disney World if Walt Disney World, excuse me, if he was alive today. So
clean save. All right, last one. This one's an interesting one, and this one's come around quite a bit lately.
All right.
Disney's grooming.
So I'm actually okay. First of all, grooming is horrible. It absolutely is. But if we're to delve into the mind of one of these sycophants, Disney would probably be the goal for them as far as groomers and stuff. You where else can you have as much access to impressionable people there is in the world and stuff? Now, with that said, it's incredibly a stupid conspiracy thing. It's the same. It's just as bad as Pizzagate. They're holding kids down in pizza trading for Chuck E. Cheese tokens, or I forgot what that conspiracy was and stuff. Hillary was like playing poker for children or in the basement of the Pizza Hut place or whatever. It's just whack out, far out there conspiracy and stuff. But if any of those were to be true, that would probably be more logical. Like, yeah, it's a place that's built to attract youngins and stuff, and so that's a creepy dude's utopia and stuff to pick up people to groom and to be impressionable. But it's not true. It's bullshit. So, but yeah.
So I mean, when I hear this, I chuckle. I chuckle quite a bit because, I mean, obviously a good piece of this is the fact that challenges and changes that are going on in Florida, and I mean in the world in general, but it seems to be the epicenter of it's in Florida. And I have this conversation with some people that are like, hey, do you want your kids learning about this, and this, whatever it may be, and Disney's just doing it? I'm gonna be quite honest. I have two issues with that. One, if I want anybody teaching my kids anything, as horrible as it sounds, and I'm gonna get blocked by some people, I think Disney's the best person to do it. I mean, you watch Oliver and Company, and they made me realize, damn, kidnapping is bad. The end of the movie, the girl gets kidnapped. They said, hey, if you keep this quiet, we're squared. And you realize, damn, kidnapping's not okay. So when there are all these things that are going on about today's changes, today's adaptations, I'm not even going to use the word that everyone likes to use for it because no one knows what they're even meaning with the word. But it's like, you know what? If Disney is doing it, I hate to say this, but they're probably going to be the ones that do it the nicest and most understandable. Secondly, if I am looking to Disney or Disney Plus in this case to raise my children, I feel like that's where the real problem lies. I'm not screening everything my kids watch, but at the same time, I understand that when they have questions about anything, I'll answer it. I'm very honest with my kids. Some people say I'm too honest, but I'm very honest with my kids. So when I hear this, that Disney's grooming them, if you are letting anybody else groom your children on any aspects of life, I feel like you've dropped the ball as a parent, if I'm being honest. Like,
right.
It's on you to talk about all things life with your kids. Then they go out in the world, they learn these things, they come back to you for that clarification. That's my stance on it.
Okay, that's valid. So so this is where we have a miscommunication. So when you say grooming, I get the notion about raising my kids or putting propaganda out there, doing whatever and stuff like that. I don't see that as so much as grooming. When I heard grooming, when you said that, I was thinking about like these older men who are like grooming these younger people into becoming like their child brides, or brainwashing them into that kind of thing. But raising your kids, yeah, like I'm from Gen X, so you're gonna get the unfiltered Gen X perspective on this. Okay, I'd much rather Disney groom me than the 80s, because the 80s was just a pure ball of just chaos. And I'll give you talked about kidnapping, right? Let me tell you about my childhood and our introduction to about kidnapping and stuff. We had TV commercials that scared the shit out of us. There would be crime dog McGruff is sitting there and he's watching. He's like, hey, look at little Susie walking down the street. And then here comes a big old 80s Chevette pulling up and swinging in the door open. And the crime dog is like, do you think Susie's going to make the right choice? The next thing you know, Susie disappears, and then they pans to the playground and all the kids in the park disappear. It's like, no, Susie made the wrong choice. Don't be like Susie. It scared the crap out of us. Like, we didn't want to walk anywhere near cars. We didn't want to be we're looking for white vans and trench coats, and they created the boogeyman for us. And so like, that's full on wrong way of grooming somebody and stuff. I'd much rather have Mickey or Donald just come and talk to me about just being safe and everything else and stuff. Like, so yeah.
And see what just happened there nailed this little exercise on how people hear one, two, maybe a sentence, and then all of a sudden it's like Loki. You hear one word and there's like boom, 12 different timelines of all of these different articles. And I love turning that mirror on and like, hey, read the article, guys. Learn what the words are. There's a certain word that I didn't mention. Me and you probably know exactly what word it is, because it is highly abused, highly misused, and honestly, it's like the scapegoat for anything negative. So, but with that being negative, let's talk about some more negative news. And now we're going to go into one of my favorite sections. This is the one that usually gets Sean's blood pumping. We're going to be going into our poison apple or pixie duster. Real quick, before we get started, for those that are just joining us, or David, what do you think a poisoned apple is? And I'm sure you know what a pixie duster is, but what do you think those two words are? And for those of you that are watching, let us know in the comments below. What do you think a pixie duster is? And what do you think a poisoned apple is? If you've seen the show before, you know exactly what it is. But if you're new to the show, comment below. Let us know what you think those are.
So I'll start with pixie duster. Pixie duster is simply someone who has love goggles on for all things.
Love goggles. I love
goggles. They don't see. They see through these rose-colored heart-shaped goggles for everything, and it's just everything is great. And there's got to be a reason why it's great and why it can't be bad. And it's just you're just the optimistic cheerleader for a thing. The poison apple is on the opposite side. It's really is kind of like, this is the reason for this to fail. This is the reason why this is not going to work. This is the reason why that thing that's being shoved in our face is the reason why I'm using the word shoved in my face, not presented to me, not offered to me, like forced down my throat. That's the poison apple and stuff. Like whatever they're hiding in that nice little dainty little package is pure poison that's being, I'm being forced to consume and stuff. So there's my definitions and stuff.
And you're not far off. I mean, a pixie duster sees no wrong at all, and a poisoned apple sees no right. Like, it just, as soon as it comes out, whatever it may be, it is bad. Automatically
It's
negative.
suspect. Yes.
Yep. And with this topic, and I think this is going to be an interesting one. Have you seen the movie Wish yet?
Not yet. No, not yet.
All right. So we'll go off trailers alone. If you've seen the movie Wish in the comments, let us know. Based off the trailers, what do you think the movie? Have you looked at the numbers yet of the movie?
I know it's low, or it's low and stuff, but then again, I mean, here this is the whole thing, okay? And I'm gonna just say this: people are expecting home runs on every freaking thing. I mean, let's be real. They're expecting a home run on what was it? Elements? What was that? Elemental. It made $500 million, but it was a slow burner. It didn't. It was doomsday apparently outside of the box opening weekend, and then it grew to be a $500 million project for IP for Disney. So yeah, the box offices are low, but I don't really care about home runs. I just really care about the story, and if it's good, and if I'm entertained and stuff. So.
Well, and it's funny because I saw Wish. My daughter saw the Asha dress and was like, "I'm all in. I want that dress." I was like, "You know what? Let's go see it."
All right.
And it was. How's it going, Sean?
What's going on?
What you think this is dinner theater, man?
Buddy, I've worked 40 hours the past 3 days.
It's all good to see you, man.
Yeah. So Wish, I mean, I enjoyed. Sean, have you seen Wish?
I have not.
All right. So it's
You're fine. Talk about it. It's okay.
So
the
movie itself, me personally, I think it's okay, but I think it had too much blended together. I think the trying to use different animation styles, it's hit and miss.
Oh, the mediums blended.
You really couldn't tell that they switched up styles, except for some pieces. Like, it wasn't really heavy. I think the whole prequel notion that people are saying, oh, it's a prequel, if you look at it because the end credit scene, that's a stretch. The music in there, though, is absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's up there with, like, songs from, say, like Coco. I like Encanto's playlist. The Greatest Showman's playlist. Like, the songs are really good.
Okay.
Like, but in the villain, we have like an OG villain. It's an absolute bad guy. But it was weird because you have these premises of it being a sub story of Walt. It starts off a guy created a magical land where everybody of all shapes, sizes, colors, everything could come and let their dreams be heard. Okay, that sounds like Walt. Sounds like Disneyland. I like where this is going. Then it just switches, and you see the plot, you see the enemy, you see it all in the beginning, and then it's just like, all right. So
it's like every other Disney movie.
Every other
Disney movie. And everyone has said that.
It's not. So remember, I'm sure you guys have all seen Frozen by now.
Oh yeah.
So plot twist when you see Han is the actual bad guy, like, whoa, wasn't really expecting that. Coco, the plot twist that, hey, Hector's your grandfather, fool. Like, come on. Like, those plot twists were like, oh my gosh. There was none of that in this movie. There was no. Some people said they cried, but I cried more on Once Upon a Studio than I cried on Wish. I didn't even cry. I mean, I was getting a little emotional that they're going down the Walt route, and then they just deferred from it. So I was like, man, but here's the real kicker. And you bring up a good point about Elemental making $500 million. Right now, opening weekend, Wish has brought in just shy of 50 million. Now, technically,
That's terrible.
we won't get the official updated numbers until tomorrow.
Mhm.
But as of right now, it is at just shy of 49 million. So,
The Hunger Games beat it, didn't it?
I don't know. I haven't looked at that. But my question is, and this kind of the pitch test is, when do the animated movies go back to what was working? Outside of anybody's personal like politic beliefs. But
So-
if you look at Elemental, you look at this, you look at what else has come out cartoon wise in the last year. I mean, Elemental was fun, but it's literally the blueprint, the skeleton of Zootopia. They just said, hey, instead of animals, we're going elements.
All
The
right.
Elemental was really good, though.
It was. And so I hear what you're saying. So when you say when it go back to what is working, Disney never did that. That's so let me just preface it with this, okay?
Okay.
So Disney makes retold stories. They're very good at doing that and adding a new different light on a retelling of a story. That's what they're good at. That's what I'm assuming what they did with Wish. But the thing is, fans today want something new. They really don't want, and they say that, I want Disney to go back to what you really are saying is I want to feel like when I first saw The Lion King or I first saw this
I'll
movie,
give you that.
because that's a retelling. Your grandparents probably seen the story similar to that in previous, but for you, that young person who saw that Disney magic, that was your first experience. There is people today, young people, who's never seen a version of Wish being retold. They're not going to look at Wish and say, oh, yeah, I've seen that. That's like Aladdin, or that's like this. That it's for them, it's that brand new magic and stuff. And that's what Disney does. Their bread and butter is catering to that younger audience to help raise them into older fans and stuff. And granted, you're going to get some fans. It's just like once you see a dead body, you see them all, right? That mystique, that curiosity, that stuff. It does. We have to check ourselves and be open to the fact that maybe it's not Disney. It might be just our expectations, because we grew up in a place where Disney was just wowing us new. But when we got older, we realized a lot of those wows were rehashed, retold, reimagined original or old stories and stuff. And that's where we're seeing this. So that's my take on that.
But you know what, though, with that, though, kind of still confirms what I said. Then they're not, then they need to go back to that, because Wish, which is commonly being said, is your standard typical cut dry princess movie. There's a villain, she's a princess, either they'll say she's a princess, but it's treated that way. Same rundown. But you go Elemental, that's a reskin of a Zootopia. Wish was like a reskin of any other princess. But I think the overall meat and potatoes of it wasn't there. Like, it was fun, the music was good, but there was nothing. I mean, I think the movie itself was kind of a dud. Like, it was good, but it's forgettable. So we got Wish is an original story. I think they need to go back to focusing on the art of it and leave the storytelling to the writers. Get the rights and put beautiful art on it. Okay, I see, and I agree with that.
Do you
Wish,
think
though,
the writers aren't in charge of the storytelling? Like,
I
get what you're saying.
I think they are to a fault, though. And you look at all the other properties that Disney owns.
Mhm.
Anything Star Wars, yes, there are writers attached, but we see and hear more writers and directors jumping off projects because the higher ups don't want them to go that route. I mean, it's hard. I mean, we're seeing it in Star Wars or Lucasfilms. We're seeing it in Marvel. We're seeing it in Disney. I mean, we're seeing it in Pixar.
Those are different animals, though. So to be fair, especially Marvel, let me just call out Marvel and Star Wars real quick, because there is an overarching theme to that universe and stuff. And directors, especially directors and some writers, they want to put their own spin or take it or reimagine something completely different that may break that story arc of that universe and stuff. So you have to be very careful. And I get that. Pixar, you can make as many artistic, individualized, visualistic movies as you want because there's no massive universe unless you believe in conspiracy theories. But
I was hoping you knew.
But they're not. So those two, I think those are different animals when you calling out Marvel and Star Wars.
They are, but even if, and not to go too far this, but if you look at, say, you look at Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, the Russo brothers stayed on that project since Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw how buttoned up, tight, and clean that was. For the most part. There's some salt and pepper errors, but overall, they were two complete good films. Mm-hmm. Then you take other films where directors and writers have stepped away from the project, some new writers have come on. You look at it and it's all Band-Aid together. Like, it's almost obvious you can tell what's the original shoot and what's reshot. And with Wish and Elemental, it seems like, hey, this is the type of movie we make. These are the only type of movies we make. We don't venture off that path. And it's really hard to watch them. I mean, I look at Turning Red. Turning Red, I mean, everyone knows I don't like that movie. It's such a cut dry movie. That's a straight to DVD $5 bin at Walmart movie.
Right. I liked it.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun.
Good. So let me ask you an honest question, Louis. Are you one of the people who we kind of sometimes always hear that says, like, when you go to the park at Disneyland, the magic's gone? Are you that way with Disney's movies? Their IPs, their content and stuff. Are you that, like, the magic's gone? Like
me, I look at it almost, and I'm gonna really size my body here. I look at it as like a buffet line. I look at, all right, what's the story? What is the story of the movie? What are the characters? What is the music like? What is the setting? How original are we going with this content? Everyone knows I'm a huge spokesperson for Onward. I loved Onward. The fact that it was a missing dad, two boys, that it was a really different take on it. The entire landscape was themed around a subject, mostly the D&D atmosphere. Loved it. Nothing, it was like you felt the story, you felt the realness. With some Disney movies, it feels like, hey, this is our blueprint how to make movies. We have our start, we have our middle, we have our end. We have our hero, we have our villain. The villain loses, the hero realizes they're stronger. Fill in the blanks, that's our movie. As where some movies, yes, that's still the foundation, but it gets so blurred that you get lost in the story. Frozen, another beautiful movie. No prince, no nothing, two sisters running through this adventure. Okay, this is new. Let's see what this is about. I like this. So for some movies, I don't do that with any of the Disney movies. I give them a chance when I watch them. Usually I'll watch them twice. And Elemental, I thought, was Disney coming back. We talked about it on a few shows back because they sprinkled in music. They sprinkled in characters. There was comedy. They even sprinkled in the LGBTQ+. And guess what? It didn't get blown out of proportion because it was done so seamlessly in the movie. They're like, yeah, it's two sisters, they're a couple, and we're going to keep the story going. Boom. Oh, that's amazing. It's awesome. I watched it a second time, and then I couldn't help but think, like, wait a minute. This is the blueprint to Zootopia. A fox and a rabbit, a predator and a what do they call the opposite from a predator? It's a predator and
the prey.
But it's prey. Thank you. Predator and prey. Oh, wait, hold on, yeah. Oh, wait, elemental, fire and water. Oh, those don't mix, but they're gonna mix in this movie. Interesting. It's in a town where everybody can get along. Boom. Oh, that's amazing. So That's crazy. That was Zootopia. Oh, it's like come on, like you didn't. And then what even is sad is that's on the Pixar side, and Pixar films right now, I mean, let's be honest, haven't been that great. Lightyear was, I mean, an
Garbage.
almost
That's
forgettable
trash.
movie.
Trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Luca is literally the boy version of Little Mermaid. Mom, I want to go see the real world. Oh, I found a friend. We got legs. I can't tell them who I am. Oh, thanks. That's Little Mermaid, just boy version. I mean, but you go to movies like Frozen, Raya, Onward. Even though there's a lot of people that don't like Encanto, I think it's more because it's like the Frozen fever. Encanto just took over the world for like a good 6 months there. I don't think everybody that hates that movie. I think they're just like, we don't need any more of that right now. We know about Bruno. We know we're not supposed to talk about him, but the world knows about Bruno. So I feel like that movie just gets a bad rep because of that song. But those movies, you buy into them. Like those are characters that, like, if you met in the park, you're tearing up because you remember watching them. But Wish, Elemental, they didn't have that. They were fun, they were cute, but like I got 3 kids in Elemental, they enjoy it, but they turn it on and after about 20 minutes, it's forgettable. My daughter loved Wish. She could be a little bit biased because she got the dress of Asha and she loves it. But
well, she's awesome too. So I mean,
she is. I mean, I'm not gonna diss my own kids, but yeah. So for me, Disney animation is the heart and soul of Disney. So therefore, I'm gonna critique the days out of it. And again, going back, when you look at movies like Onward, Raya, Coco, Encanto, over the last like 10 years, those are solid movies. And that's great storytelling at its finest. These stories right now, well, one, the marketing's bad because they try to play a Wish off as a 100-year celebration. It's not that.
Yeah.
There's some tidbits in there to make you believe that, but I think they need to go back to what they used to do, meaning, and I'm going to change it a little bit. If you had a movie you were writing or a short, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. You pitched it to the creative team, and they're like, yeah, that's the movie we're making. As we're right now, it seems like everyone's just like, hey, we're going to make this movie, and that's what we're working on. Because before, I mean, early Pixar days, you had Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Incredibles, all those movies pitched by certain art directors. And then the creative team sat around, heard all the pitches, and we're like, you know what? That's a good movie. Let's make that one. As we're now, I think they're pitching the movie before anyone's really played out the storyline.
All right.
But no, to answer your question, I'm not a.
I hear what you're saying. I completely. This is what this show's for. I disagree completely because here's my little response to that. If you were to take the timeline of Pixar's movies and you were to reverse them, so instead of opening out right out the gate, Toy Story and stuff, Toy Story is the last. Toy Story is being made in 2023. People today will still complain about Toy Story, like, oh, they run out of ideas. Now we're making movies about toys, like the stuff you get in Happy Meals or the stuff that Disney, like, come on, Disney, like, go back to, where you started out, your roots and stuff. Like, literally, if you take their playbook and you flip it, and all the Pixar movies that have came out lately, and you put those in the beginning in the late 90s and stuff and had them come out, people will be raving about it and everything else. And then if you introduce those earlier movies that people loved and the Cars and Toy Story and all that stuff, they would be like, okay, now Disney's just like, oh, now we got talking cars, toys. What next? Veggie Tales, like what? That we're going to have that. That's where we are. And so I'm only saying that for this fact. I think we speculate a lot about what goes on behind the scenes on making these films. Like, it feels like it was just a rush job. It feels like there wasn't no blood, sweat, and tears into those projects. We don't know that. I'm sure why would they change up that formula? Because that formula brought them untold fortunes. Why would you also one day say, you know what? you know how we did all that extra work, and you guys were so in love with making these films and these characters come to life and everything else. We're gonna switch it up because we don't want that level of success. We don't want all that money. We don't want Why would they change the recipe towards the end and stuff? Because they know that recipe brings in the money and stuff. So what I'm saying is this: maybe what your experience with Disney is anecdotal in this way, that it's a Lou custom experience with Disney. That relationship is completely from Lou's perspective and everything else. And granted, there's a lot of Lou's out there who very much is they have an honest critique, because I couldn't disagree with anything you're really saying, other than that there's some speculation and pieces and stuff going on about losing their magic or going back to what they did, like when they came out with Toy Story and all this other stuff. I really, in my head, again, speculation on my part, if they really did reverse their IP playbook, and although those early movies came out now, I think the Lou experience will still be the same about what happened to Disney and Pixar and everything else and stuff. That's my.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But I mean, at the same time, there are definitely people that are gonna be out there hating on it to hate on it, and there's like the 4 degrees of Disney. You really hate Disney, and you'll do everything you can to run their name to the mud. Then there's like the critiquing Disney, which is, I feel like that's the category I usually sit in. I'm more negative than positive, but it's like harsh criticism. But then you have like, you go to the 3rd degree of Disney, and that's the, hey, they messed up, but it's all right. The very optimistic side. You'll say, hey, that was a fail, but we're gonna get past this. Then you have what I like to call the pixie duster stage, and that's no matter what Disney says, they do no wrong. Everything they say is gold, and it's money. And I feel like the way I just described it, none of our hosts are in there, even though some of them assume I call them pixie dusters. I do use it a lot in the chat. But the way I just described it, I don't think anybody's that. But I agree. There are people that are going to hate on Disney just to hate on that. And I do lean more towards that. But in the mentality that, like, what Walt used to do. Like, yes, that's really good, but I know you could be doing better.
I don't say you lean towards the hating crowd. If I had to give you a scenario to make it kind of make sense, you would be that parent that if a kid brought you a B- on their report card, you know that A is possible. You know A game is there. And you look at that as like, I'm not celebrating you for a B-. Like, are you like? And there's those parents who are like, oh my God, you got a B-. That you did terrific. My kid's a genius, or the teacher's wrong, that you should have got an A because I'm looking at your stuff. No, you're keeping it real. Like, look, you could do A-level work. I know you can. I've seen it done before. So I'm not okay with this B-. I'm not going to celebrate a B. That's what I picture you as, Lou, as that dad who, if I got B, I'm a little scared to come talk to you.
Right.
Gotcha. Shawn.
Well, it's funny because, Lewis, all I ever say is, well, if whatever works for him, it works for him. It's okay because people are going to show up. I always tell you that. Whenever you have a criticism about something, it's all right. They're not going to change it because people are going to show up. You got a fucking problem because no one showed up to this. And I was completely shocked. We've been talking about this for a couple months on all the shows, just getting rewatched. I think we watched The Wish on this show like a month ago. We watched the trailer just out of the blue. It's crazy to me. I thought this was going to be like, this was going to save Disney. This was going to, and I'm not a pixie duster at all because I do have criticisms as well, but I really thought they were doing the right thing. Like Sam even said, they're marketing it. Kelly and Courtney said they're marketing this one. Finally, they're doing what they're supposed to do. $30 million in a weekend on Thanksgiving weekend. There is a disconnect from Disney to the public, and I don't know if I don't understand it. I will lean back on it. I do say that I think part of it is streaming. I think people are going to stream this in a month or two and be like, oh, cool. I can, like, when you said you were going, I was completely shocked that you said you were going, because I'm like, Lewis is going to see Wish, but he didn't go to see this one or that one. And I'm like, you weren't even like, hey, the trailer's pretty good. You went good for your kids, which I completely respect, and I think that's awesome. But there's a problem, and I don't know. It's really weird to me that a Disney movie that's supposed to celebrate 100 years of this company being around through animation, $30 million. That's terrible. Hunger Games actually beat it. I looked. The Hunger Games beat it over the for opening weekend. Um, come on. Elemental did $38 million. And this was supposed and that had no marketing. Me and David watched the trailer for Elemental. Like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, I'm literally. I think it was for one of the. I think it was Quantum Mania or something. We were there watching it, and we're like, "What is this?"
Mhm.
You know, and this came that Thanksgiving weekend 30. And I'm never really critical at Disney, but this is there is an issue. But I've heard that anyone that has seen this movie for the most part likes it.
Well, so when you say
this, go ahead.
well, when you say there's issues, I think there's definitely issues. I think there's levels of it. One, I do think the streaming, knowing that it comes out in 3 months to Disney Plus, I think is an issue because now people aren't rushing out to see it. Two, I do think like times are a little tougher than normal, so going to the movies is a little more expensive. But I think for me, I think the biggest issue that Disney has right now is the fact that they're yes, they marketed the movie, and yes, we saw commercials, we saw flyers, but you didn't know what the movie was about. And after seeing the movie, no, it was marketed as something completely different.
Hmm.
You're watching the movie, and the movie that's took 100 years in the making. You almost with the trailer and stuff like that, King Magnifico, all that. I thought it was going to be like a Walt animation where he's the wish maker and all that. Like that's what I went to go see, and I saw. I was like, this is not it.
Yeah.
But I do think there are issues amongst the movies, but it's hard to pinpoint what they are because we don't know. And going back to what David said, we don't know what it is behind the scenes that's making this so
100%.
bad.
Yep.
But obviously, Disney is used to doing, $80 to $100 million opening weekend, and now they're not.
Yep.
But at the same time, what did Disney do 10 years ago that made us as viewers, as supporters, as fans say, hey, I know I have rent next week, but here's $800 because I need that more than my house. What They're not doing that no more.
Right.
So you hit on something what I really wanted to say because we're talking about why it only made 38 million. What's going on? And we are playing the speculation game. But I have a theory for you guys. Like I really do think that Disney set themselves up for failure because they set their expectations too high, and we as a public we solidified those expectations.
Absolutely, we did.
There was a year that Disney had 7 movies that hit $1 billion.
Yeah, it's like 4 years ago. It was like
unheard of and stuff. Talk about setting the bar. Yeah. The top 10 all-time movies, Disney owns the majority of those in the top 10 lists and stuff, setting the bar high. So much so that we expect blockbuster numbers. Again, I go back to Elemental cracked $500 million and stuff. Yeah. That's a win. Opening weekend was crap. They got shit on and everything else, just like this movie is. This is just opening weekend. We and Disney both, to an extent, Disney's really came out swinging. And I want to say this. I think 4 years ago, we were in a different world.
Absolutely.
We really were. We have to take a little bit of responsibility, and that needs to enter into the conversation. Before years ago, prior pandemic, we were out and about living our lives, really, spending money, doing whatever we want to do, waiting for that next big thing to come out. Knew that Disney was throwing out bangers and stuff. To now, all these streaming services are doing everything they can to get you to stay home, to just watch their stuff, consume their stuff. You work, you come home, you don't really got time to go out. You just want to stream, and you can stream anything you want, anytime you want. On demand is king, and it's to the detriment of a lot of movies and stuff. Now
I
we don't
agree.
see the series of billionaire blockbuster.
I don't
Now
think
we'll
we ever
get
will
maybe
again.
one or two. There's room every year for maybe
Yeah.
one or two billionaire blockbusters. No matter what studio put it out, if it's good,
Right.
it's going to, if it, it's going to hit it, and then it's just this. We're going to get these barely cracking 50 mil here and there and stuff like that. That's the new world we live in. And
I agree, 100%.
Disney
So-
has their part in this. They do have to work on their quality and all that other stuff, but it's not solely just hanging on them. We live in a new world, and I think we need to really adjust those numbers of what those expectations are. We can't expect home runs on good quality, even if it's a good quality movie. Like you
I think
go in,
you're-
Louis, he came in and said, "Oh my God, I absolutely love this movie. I don't know why it got so." We can't expect home runs and stuff, even from good quality movies, if Disney figured out that recipe. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to close
100%.
out.
I agree with what he's saying for sure.
I'll give you this, David. We'll check back on the same topic in 3 months. And the reason why, see, we keep mentioning Elemental cracking, $500 million. So Elemental's domestic opening was $29 million. Okay. So, and it made $500 million. Now, the Wish came in at $10 million less than that domestically. So, I'll give you that it's going to be a slow climb. But my question in 3 months is, what if it doesn't make that?
then we have that conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. I think everything that's being said today in regards to opening weekend is absolutely fair. And then I say, hey, you know what? It matches with what happened. In 3 months, it didn't really do that. Well, nothing really changed. Nothing shifted. No one decided to do the big Christmas bump and go see a movie with their family, for Christmas to take the kids out to do stuff. So it blew up, that it just, you're right. It just was a dud. And for me, I'm willing to wait to see if that's the case. But what I'm just saying is that we're in the time of slow burners, and that's just the way it is. We're going to get these slow rises and stuff, and then they're going to tap out, and we're hoping that those slow rises. It's like watching a baseball game. You're waiting till the end, that seventh inning, to see those numbers, because those are the numbers that matter. It doesn't matter what you did in the first or second or third inning and stuff. What matters is the points at the seventh inning, because you're at the end of that game. We're at the end of that IP. We're at the end of where it's about to be put on Disney Plus. That's where for me, that's where the real numbers are. That's really dictates whether it's a success or not. Opening weekend, I think that shit changed. The world changed. We're just not going to get those $1 billion, or those 100+ million opening weekends anymore. We may get one or two a year.
So
I don't disagree.
I have a quick question for you guys. So, the Marvels came out a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, it actually came out just a couple weeks ago, right?
2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was
2 weeks ago. $188 million worldwide. Is that trending a success? I mean, I think, like Louis said, come back in 3 months. I don't think it does 500 million in 3 months. Because I think Elemental came out in July, so I don't know. That's 5 months. It's September. It's December now. So I mean, I don't know. I was just looking on Box Office Mojo there, and $188 million domestically. Domestic opening of $46 million. The Marvels beat Wish domestically.
So my thing with the Marvels, and David touched on it, is it's a different beast. But the things with Marvel and Lucasfilm is those films and the live actions with Disney, but the bigger live actions or action movies, too much laundry gets aired out during its marketing. You have the first trailer of Marvels come out. They're playing the Beastie Boys song. It's a fun trailer. I wasn't too ecstatic for it, but then I'm being biased. I wasn't a fan of the first Captain Marvel, so I was like, okay, I got a treat. But too much, the whole reshoot comments. Reshoots happen, but there was apparently a lot on this. There was that. But I think also too, the reshoots and then that last trailer was a completely 180 of what you saw. But
Yeah.
unfortunately for the Marvels, I think too much came out from behind the scenes to the public's eye that in a way kind of tarnished the Marvel effect that Marvel movies have, because Marvel movies usually pretty I mean, even Ant-Man, even though it had some negative feedback beforehand, Quantumania did pretty good. I mean, so for it to be that low still, I think the Marvels itself, I have not seen it yet. I've heard pretty neutral things across the board, but I think for the Marvels itself, that
It's
exact
good.
movie, I think too much behind the scenes laundry came out in the public's eye and kind of tarnished the effect of that movie.
That wasn't my point. My point was it did better than Wish, and that's just odd to me because Wish had such a I mean, like I said, we're just going to be beating the same thing here until, like you said, wait 3 months so we can get off the topic. I don't know what else you guys even talked about. So
No,
Well-
and I get and so I'll just end with this. I think numbers are good. You know, they kind of really show some things, but ultimately it comes down to whether or not you enjoyed it or not.
yeah,
Because
and that's
I enjoyed the
100%.
Marvels. I thought the Marvels was fun.
Yeah.
There's some pieces I didn't like. Like it was my own personal hell watching the existence of a planet that is High School Musical.
No, come on.
You couldn't paint a better vision of hell for me than that. Just having someone singing at me all the time, I would be the most violent villain on that planet. I just but
When I
beyond
watched that, I
that-
was so wishing I was with you watching that.
yeah, oh yeah, you would have you would look at
Hey,
me.
that's the
seeing me
next
just
show
like,
coming to the
what hell?
Hyperion. That's the next show coming to the Hyperion, the planet.
So, but
Probably better than Rogers. So.
But overall, I enjoyed it. It was a fun little roller coaster ride. I enjoyed it. There's some pieces that it's not a perfect movie. There are some pieces. There's always. I'm a comic book person. I love watching things kind of unfold. And there's some pieces. I think Miss Marvel, Iman, she killed it. And I think the reason why she killed it because she's a bigger comic book nerd than I am. Like
Yeah.
she really embodies that role. I think Carol Danvers was kind of a miss because, I like Brie. Brie's a great. Brie can act. She's great. I think the way they writ that character, they weren't sure about how to write her. I saw them originally going with like this Ripley badass hero person and stuff, which I was on board for, and then they tried to create this kind of weird princessy kind of vibe that doesn't fit her persona and her character, marrying someone for convenience or politics and all. I know you haven't seen that yet, Lou, but it was almost like the dueling personalities in one, and that has everything to do with the writing, nothing to do with the person. Like she can be that broken person who's a loner and has her reasons for it and stuff. And I was on board for that. She's never going to be the aunt that Monica Rambeau really wanted or needed. And there's a reason for that because of her trauma and everything else. And so, but it just didn't, it was like she's playing two roles in the same time. That's what I got. But other than that, it was just a fun movie, regardless of what the box office said. So
That's fair.
So before we continue, we're going to take our getaway today break, and but I'll let you guys know the topic that when we come back. So it's our second. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So IGER's 1 year anniversary just passed of him being back for IGER 2.0. So we are going to discuss IGER's past year back at Disneyland. So we're going to take our getaway today break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Burn it down!
That's not it.
That's not
wait,
it.
that's a quick break.
So
Well, hello, and welcome to Let's Get to Know Our Sponsor. Getaway Today has been helping Disney vacation dreams come true since 1990. Whether you choose to visit the happiest place on earth or travel to Orlando and beyond, they want to help you. Need to know the best hotel in the area? What theme park ticket should you buy? Have a last minute change? No worries. Their travel experts are always here to help. Want to book a cruise and don't know where to start? Hey, they can help with that too. They will help you find the perfect cruise for your vacation, whether it is your first time or you're a well-seasoned cruiser. When you book your cruise with one of the Getaway Today's experts, you will have a dedicated agent to help you every step of the way. They take care of the details so you can have the most fun. Getaway Today has layaway, peace of mind travel, allowing you to cancel or make changes up to 72 hours in advance. You will always have the most up-to-date vacation information, both pre-arrival and upon your welcome. Getaway Today will guarantee the best prices with no hidden fees. And every time you book through Getaway Today, they will donate a portion back to a charitable organization in your area. And so far, over $4.5 million has been donated. So click the link in our show notes to start your Disney vacation planning for more information and the best deals. Tell them Walt's Apartment sent you. And until next time, enjoy the view from Walt's Apartment.
I would like to formally apologize for
That's
butchering that sponsor break.
4.5 million.
Million.
So, IGER's 1 year anniversary just passed. I was so stoked. I was going to upload the pictures. So the day that IGER, well, I'll upload them while we're talking. But so IGER's 1 year anniversary for IGER 2.0 has just passed.
It literally was like yesterday, exactly a year, because it was a Sunday night. So
all I know is my Facebook memories popped up when we announced it. I was like, oh, man.
it was a Sunday night. I remember that. I was on my way back from my hospital with my dad, and I remember because that's when they kicked out old IGER. Sorry, buddy. I mean, Chapek. So you think Chapek, a bit back to the real thing before we get into this, do you think Chapek's like, because he obviously greenlit Wish because it was being done before IGER came back. You think he kind of said "fuck you" and this is my last hurrah. I'm gonna give you this, and this is the last thing we can blame Chapek for. I think is Wish.
I don't think Chapek knew he was getting pushed out.
No,
so I think he was operating in good faith, is what I'll say. It wasn't executing right, but I think he was operating in good faith.
Move this money here. Move this money here. Put this over here. I know if you hide this behind this, no one will see it.
He was operating in good faith in a Ponzi scheme-ish sort of way. So.
Disney's a Ponzi scheme. That's
so,
awesome.
but with all that though, let's talk about it. Is IGER doing any better so far?
No, and I think that has to be expected. I mean, there's a real reason why Chapek got replaced. Things weren't going in the right direction for Disney, and you can't just take the helm back and expect to right the ship. He has to go through some tidal waves and turbulence and all that other shit. And this isn't pixie dusting. I'm just saying IGER has to own some of the stuff that he did.
100%, man. That's what I always
he can't continue to allude that was the Chapek and I'm cleaning stuff up. No, dude, you're in the driver's seat. You're making decisions, and you've been doing it for the past year. So you get to own a lot of this shit.
But I mean,
$80 billion Fox purchase, whatever it was that he left Disney with when he peace. Here you go. Enjoy Fox and have fun with this new streaming service. I'm out.
See, and part of me wants to say IGER knew what the fuck he was doing about this. He bailed out 9 months earlier than his actual retirement. Like, and then to find out after Chapek did the interview afterwards when he got let go, IGER was never really gone from the scene.
No, he was there for a year. He was there for a year. He didn't give up his office.
So I mean, how are you not able to fix Chapek's problems in a year when you were not even gone for a full year? So
poking that bear the whole time, look what he's doing now. Look what he's doing now.
Not only that, I just finished reading. I didn't read it. I gotta stop saying it. I listened to it on audiobooks. The Ride of a Lifetime book. He hopped in the driver's seat after Eisner left and turned things around with Steve Jobs and Pixar within the year. Within 3 years, he's in the driver's seat and purchasing Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Within, I think it's 7 years, 2005, 12 years, he's turning around and in discussions with Lucasfilms. So, yes, it takes some time, but you already have all of those key things under your umbrella at this moment. It's not like Chapek went in and said, we're going to sell that, we're going to sell that, and now you're back in the driver's seat with nothing. No, it's like leaving your seat to use a restroom in Monopoly. You come back and all your property, all your hotels, and all your houses are still there. You just got to go around the board once. And right now, I don't think he's doing that. It's like he's going around the board doing his own thing, but nothing is reflecting Disney. I mean, his contract got extended until 2026, but even in the SCE filing or SCA, I forgot which one it is, even in that filing though, he's still in there for I think 5 more years after his contract's up or his seat is up. So IGER's not going nowhere for like the next 7 years technically.
If he's old, I mean, no disrespect, he's old.
Well, guess what? That's why they ousted Eisner. He said it clear as day in his book. Or not Eisner, Roy. Roy,
yeah.
Because he was going up against the company and this and that, just causing challenges. Well, guess what? Iger's doing that, but he's also buying the board. I mean, let's be honest. That's what that new investor from Florida or from California he's the new what do they call it? I forgot the technical term for it, but he's a new investor, and that's what everybody wanted. But everyone was pushing for Peltz, and now they have this new guy. And that's going to be the fixing. But what has Iger done to make things better? I mean, there's nothing. I mean, he's made a lot of layoffs to break par. I get that. But you can't keep laying off to say, now we're profiting. At what those are some of those roles, some of them, not all of them, were key roles that you still need to have filled.
But to be real, that layoff. The layoffs that was the last thing that Chapek announced. He announced that had to be done because Chapek is a business person and was trying to do what he could do. And you're right, Iger is riding the coattails of we cut all these costs. Yeah, you did what the other guy said you were going to do. That's all he's done so far is he's done what Chapek said he was going to do. He hasn't done anything on his own. You know, he said we're going to. I mean, they split the company 3 ways. That's what they've done. They split it into 3 divisions. Which I think is smart, and I think that is a smart plan. I respect Bob Iger. I talk shit about him all the time, but I mean he did do a lot for the company. I still think Michael Eisner got a bad ousting as well. You know what I mean? They were trying to revolt against him when he at the end for him. I thought Michael Eisner's done the most for the company, and that pretty much, I mean, park wise has done the most. I mean, he created the Renaissance era with Little Mermaid and Lion King. Built like 6 amusement parks while he was in charge. Dude's done more than probably anyone else, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, Iger bought Star Wars and bought Marvel and bought all this. Okay, do something with it now. Do more with it than what you're saying.
I will give you that. Eisner did a lot for the parks. Eisner did a sufficient amount for the animation, but I think he's also the one that stabbed animation in the back.
100%. I mean, it's
When he let Roy get into the conversations with Jesse Ketzenberg, and Jesse Ketzenberg walk, or I think his name Jesse, but when he walked the what is it called, the post-Renaissance era, all of those movies. Now, granted, there's a lot of cult fans about it. There's a lot of people that love like Treasure Planet and Atlantis, stuff like that. But those movies tanked, and ironically. We're seeing that same thing right now with Pixar in a mild way. You know, they got rid of John Lasseter for all different reasons. And now the movies are slipping. So I think we're in a post.
They were good reasons. Let's be real. They were good reasons to get rid of the guy.
I mean, yes, but I mean at the same
time,
other
topic. It's a whole nother.
But show. I mean, isn't it innocent until proven guilty? I mean, that's not why Johnny Depp walked. I mean, I'm just saying.
That's fair. I mean,
They axed Johnny Depp before any type of ruling came.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, there was, but yes, that's a conversation for a whole different time. But I think IGER 2.0 right now is not doing anything.
I want him to. I want the company to be successful. It's sad to sit here and say we're a Disney, like Lewis always says, we're a Disney-based podcast network that talks about Disney, and a lot of our conversation is about what they're doing wrong, and that's not what we started when we started this, but that's where we're at now with everything. It's just if that makes sense, you know what I mean?
So let me ask this, because you two know way more about Disney and its inner workings and everything than I do. Like, I came on board because I'm the Marvel guy.
Mhm.
I was bought into this situation here. But let me just make this outside baseball kind of perspective and stuff. So Eisner, to me, has always been the king of content guy and stuff. And in this way, his purchases he's done in his 15-year tenure prior to the 2.0 version coming back.
You're saying Iger, not Eisner, right?
Iger.
Okay.
He bought the number 1 and number 2 biggest running franchises on the planet,
100%,
bar none.
Yeah.
King content. He gets to be golden boy for that. Now, I don't know, but I haven't heard a lot about the big, ginormous breakthroughs or push forwards for the parks that Iger did. And what I saw in this fourth quarter earnings report is he's going back to his traditional roots of trying to big up on content by focusing on sports. Sports is now the new content baby of Disney, and that's where that money train is going to go. So he's found success in building and helping solidify number 1 and number 2. He's content king. Gotta give that to him. He's going back to his roots, and so therefore the parks and everything else. I don't know this personally, but it doesn't sound like he was ever that parks kind of guy. Like, maybe it would be good to have somebody be that, but right now he's focusing all of his eggs, the majority of his eggs, growing content, which is sports. That's the main focus of the next big endeavor for Disney. And while I told you, Shawn, about what I thought about sports betting and all that other stuff, it's an off-brand for Disney, in my opinion, but it's probably, like you said, going to be very successful. Everyone loves sports. Everyone kind of bets. Everyone. So he's going to hit I think he's going to hit another home run and create a huge endeavor from this.
I hope so. I honestly hope so for the company.
It's going to be at the cost of the other stuff that Disney is good for. So that's my outside. I know little about the whole Disney experience opinion.
So when it comes to parks, it's a very spiderweb apparatus. So you have your park execs, the guys at green light, red light, project, stuff like that. But you have the Imagineers who are pitching these ideas. But obviously through interviews, through articles, you're seeing more and more that Imagineers are being utilized less and less every go around.
Yeah.
And so because it's cheaper just to get an off-shelf attraction piece and put it in the park. And you don't need the storyboard, cool, we build around it, done. And right now, I think with parks, you're right, Iger was involved to a fault. From all the video clips and the little footage that is out there of him with Imagineering, he's there very much like Walt was. Tell me what this is. Why are we doing this? Sell this to me so I know, yes, let's do this. But
I think a lot of that is planted like stuff, in my opinion. I get what you're saying, like Imagineering story, like when he's standing there and they're building Buena Vista Street and all that stuff. He's pointing, of course. I mean, Walt did the same thing. So he's not a modern day Walt, just so we're clear. At all. Is that what you're gonna say?
I mean, I'll say it now just because I know you're gonna say it's not.
Okay.
I mean, you almost gave Eisner more praise than Walt just a minute ago. So
No, you can never do that. No one's Walt. We've had this fucking discussion many times. You're gonna get me all fired up. You're gonna be yelling in my new apartment.
there's somebody out there, dude. There's a
That's
diamond.
Out of your goddamn mind. Why'd you say that just to poke me after working all these hours?
Because
piss
literally,
me off right now.
like I said last time, there has to be.
There isn't though.
Because if not, this crazy train is on the road to nowhere.
Yeah.
Actually, it's on the way to Apple's warehouse, and then it's going to be rebuilt. But anyway, IGER, I think the parks are making money, so they are being left alone. But I think the parks are being left alone a little too much. I mean, especially now, granted, those that the China, the Shanghai, and all that, the new Frozen Land, they front most of the money for their projects. So you can't compare that. But at the same time, Disney has to realize, damn, they are putting that money up for that, and look how beautiful that is.
No.
Now I'm the biggest squeaky wheel about fully themed rent lands around one IP. I have no problem with IP, but don't give me a full land themed around it, because then you build yourself into a really, really small box. You can't build any other attraction in Frozen Land because it's Frozen Land. Mm-hmm. You couldn't put Pinocchio in Star Wars Land because it's Star Wars Land. That's why I like Walt's original ideas, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. You have these generic themes where it works. They're promoting that, and what do we get over here? We get new Disney Vacation Club hotels. Oh, we're taking this attraction and we're going to reskin it. Oh, we're going to take Dinosaur and put Indiana, even though it's not confirmed. But they really made that seem like that was the thing. Oh, great. Guess what? Everyone already knew it was Indiana because it felt like Indiana. So therefore,
same damn ride. Is it the same damn ride? It's the same ride, isn't it? From what I've understood, it's the same ride.
But everyone that's been on it says it's almost exactly like Indiana. So
you might be able to put Pinocchio in Star Wars, as I think about it. I mean, he does have a wood saber. It could work. You can make that work.
Yeah.
Real quick comment here from Josh. He says, honestly, don't think ESPN Bet is going to do well. It already is a saturated market, and FanDuel and DraftKings run the show, and ESPN already runs at a net loss every year.
So
it ran at a net loss until this year. Yeah,
because as a Marvel guy, I knew when Disney took over Marvel and stuff, and Marvel was struggling. I mean, Marvel was selling off their IPs. It's the reason why Hulk was gone, Sony got Spider-Man, and everything else. When big money came in a market that was dominated by DC, with your Batmans and your Superman remakes and everything else and stuff like that, they blew that IP up. So granted, you're right, it's a saturated market, and the entry for Disney bought some lower tier IPs, but they're about to Disney's money behind it and their rep, and they're going to blow that up. There's no way Disney's not going to enter this and not dominate. So
I agree.
I think so.
With that same mindset, though, if that's the case, why isn't Disney doing that with their other projects they already own?
That's my question. Because IGER is king of content. He's about TV and those realms, those things. The other stuff is not really his. I mean, he's going to go out with 3 big golden rings. He's going to have the Marvel, regardless of what we say. You're not going to topple that franchise. He's going to have the Star Wars, and then he's going to have sports. Those are the 3 golden rings.
You look at everything from Fox forward.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has showed that same integrity that they gave Marvel. Star Wars already had its built-in fan base, and you had the almost like that. It's been you have that withdrawal. So the movies did really well, but you hear about things that like people like Star Wars fans. There are your diehard fans that love everything Star Wars. Then you have the same thing. You have the dark side and the light side. And then you have those that are like, really, Disney? That's what you did? You look at like Galaxy's Edge, there are a lot of people that love it, but then there's like the flaws. So with that same integrity of the ESPN, why is IGER not doing that with everything else? I mean, you got Disney Plus, which is a bleeding artery right now. They said it was going to be.
Yeah,
they knew that, and they've known that, though.
Yeah.
But they said it's going to take 5 years to bounce back. Guess what?
next year.
Next year is year 5.
Mhm.
And right now they're saying that they're going to be profitable by the end of next year. But the people that get paid to follow these statistics and look at the projections are looking at it as, hey, unless you raise your monthly subscription plan or these ads, the ad tier really kicks into drive, or you stop spending, which isn't going to help their market. You stop spending so much on projects on Disney Plus. All 3 of those projections, none of it, no calculus says, hey, that's going to pan out to be profitable. The way they're going right now and the way they're already pitching they're going doesn't add that. Hulu, syncing Hulu into Disney Plus doesn't do that. If anything, it plugs one artery and cuts open another one. So why jump into this new project when you have other projects that are suffering? Yes, I get it. The parks are profitable, but not by much. And if you've seen the parks lately, I hope the lady that got hit with the light post is okay and surviving. But you look at the parks, and they are suffering. Yes, they're making money, but they're not looking so well. They're not taken care of so well. You got some rides that are down more than they are working. You got Walt Disney World that has a lot of attractions that are just there because they're there, but no update. Why go into this? Why go into an already saturated market when it's already saturated? When they bought Marvel, it was weak and it needed the love. No disrespect to Marvel. Star Wars, it wasn't weak and didn't need the love, but it was a dead horse. George Lucas was just sitting on it. In the book, George Lucas came to Disney after conversations of selling. Fox, that was just to load their Disney Plus content up and get that ready. All of these things had room to be profitable. They were already low but established. ESPN, yes, is an already established name, but I've shared this before. All the juicy, hefty sports contracts are already claimed for. It's why when you go on ESPN Plus, you get the subpar stuff, unless it's like not subpar, but it's like seasonal. But you don't really get nothing juicy on there. You're gonna have to spend a lot more money to pick up the MLB contract, which, if I'm not mistaken, Time Warner and Comcast have that for quite some time more. The NFL Sunday tickets on YouTube, it goes up every year to somebody else. But you look at people like Peacock and Paramount Plus, they're getting the games. So, what does ESPN do? You put up money for your betting and you put up money to buy the sports contracts? Where's that money coming from? Is that another 7,000 layoffs? Because the stocks aren't reflecting it right now. Where does that come from?
I think it's funny that they fired so many people from ESPN, like these big names, these, and then brought in Pat McAfee for like a shit ton of money. But I love Pat McAfee. I think that was a brilliant move on their part. And it's shocking that they actually did that because of how he is. And he's not your typical ESPN broadcaster, which I think is great. But he's great though. But I don't know. It's all gonna work out. We know that. So
don't you bring that excuse in here. Don't you bring that.
What excuse? It's gonna
the whole people are still gonna pay for Disney. It's not gonna be sold. Don't you bring that one in here.
That's what I said earlier about Wish. I said that, and I thought that was gonna Wish would turn it around, and it didn't. But we always talk about the parks, and they're not going to do anything in the parks because and when people stop going, they're going to start doing something. But people are never going to stop going to the parks.
Oh, they're going to stop going to the parks after the Small World.
Oh my God!
They're going to stop going to the parks.
Oh, that
they might be scared because they don't want to see some naked guy just roaming around. So
yeah. So Josh here says, so far. Let's just tap into this here. So far, income loss for 2023 was $3.39 billion, a 4.5% decline from 2022. Net income loss for 2022 was $3.553 billion, a 40.1 increase from 2021. Income/loss for 2021 was $2.536 billion, a 205. That was COVID. That was COVID. So you
Yeah.
can't even. Yeah, that's COVID.
Yeah, you can't lay that all at
Yeah.
Disney's feet
And
and
I
stuff.
think
Everybody put those numbers.
everyone blames COVID for something. Oh well, the epidemic. But I think David hit it on the head. We talked about this earlier. He's 100% right. That COVID changed the way everything is done. There are
Mhm.
still people scared to death of the COVID virus and will not go to a movie no matter how much you pay them.
Yep.
They're
I
there
will
are
give you that. I give you that COVID had changed a lot, but you know what? COVID did
COVID's
not
changed
change
everything.
But
Everything.
The one thing COVID did not change is the expectations of what still should be done, but also too the quotas that are still supposed to be met. Quotas are still, all of that still has to be met. That can't change because it can't. Like, you've already set the bar.
Yeah.
So yes, COVID changed a lot, but I mean, it didn't change that much that old IGER can't bust out a solid Mickey Mouse debit card and start fixing some stuff.
But that's fair
I
too.
think it has. Here's the thing.
What has he fixed? I would love to know what he's actually fixed.
There's so I have more credence. There's a big fight going on right now. I can specifically tell you right now, there is people who are remote at home workers, right? And there's corporations who are all fine and dandy with it, supporting that and all that stuff. And now they are desperate to get people back into the office to the point where some are threatening people, and people are at the point where they're like, I don't really care. I'll go find another job. We are in a new, different world. And these corporations, I get the bars were set, but they have to change. Those bars for success, all that stuff has to be changed, and it has to look differently. Everything else, like it's not really revenue. Streams are important now. Eyes, minutes. Netflix has it. Like minutes viewed on their streaming platforms matter more than being profitability and stuff. Subscribers, even though there's a financial quantitative thing to each subscriber, they would rather have people subscribe at 99 cents just to get those subscribers and stuff, because that's how valuable those. This is a whole new world and a new game. And as much as corporate, and I'm talking about Disney and everyone else, wants to really kind of go back to the old days, and so they can claim those old benchmarks and those old successes, the world's changed. And we're now realizing and discovering what that's going to look like. And we have to redefine what success is. So if Disney existed in yesterworld, they're failing. And I get people are saying they're failing now, but you're holding them to yesterworld's standards. We have to figure out what today's world standards are and hold them to that and stuff. And so that's what I'm going to say. I know I said a lot of, it was all kind of all over the place, but I think we have to identify what today's world standards is and then hold companies like Disney to those standards and stuff. And it's going to get there. It's just the force of nature. That's just kind of how capitalism works.
Yeah. Man. Well, we had one more activity, but we only got about 2 minutes left before we hit our hour and a half.
My bad.
Is it a fun activity?
No, it takes a lot more conversation. So I'm going to save. Yeah, I'm going to save it for our next show.
With the naked guy? With the naked guy?
No, that's for Wednesday.
I told you not to talk about
you invite me on the show, and I talk too much. Now we can't do all of.
No. You coming on brought a whole new atmosphere to the show. I mean, it was a lot of conversating, debating. I mean, Shawn's still sitting there calm. I mean, you leveled out the tension. I mean,
I'm exhausted, bro. I'm not going to lie. That's why.
Shawn doesn't have to go back to the doctors and get his little heart thing. I mean, you balanced out the scale. I mean, I can't wait till Hubert comes back. I get to know you really interesting, the conversations. But no, again, man, like I always share on this show, everyone bring your popcorn, bring your opinions, because it's going to be good. I mean, we finish off with this, like it's now like the tagline. We all want to see Disney be the best Disney they can.
Absolutely.
But like playing the board game life. Some of us go to college and some of us go straight to work. We're just trying to choose the right path for them to take, so that way they get there faster.
Thanks, Kim.
But so But I will give you guys a little snippet of what the game is. So that segment is called The Top. And the top is every show we'll have. Well, so to actually bring everybody that's just joined us and David. So we changed the formula of Undisputed a few months ago, where it's not just a debate. We come in with like activities that bring some debates going. So the top and the segment that it was were, what are the top 5? Let me pull my screen back up. Hulky baby. So
I like
said,
that.
what 5 things do you think Disney owns that can produce a solid income that they do not capitalize? Which is kind of where we were going. Is what does Disney own that they're not utilizing for income, but instead kind of going the Toy Story route? Like, here we go again. We got another Toy Story. But so that segment's called The Top, and each time we bring the top, it's going to be just like it says, top 5 these, top 5 that. So it's going to be a segment. And our segments, for those that are just joining as well, so we're building segments as we go along. So our segments for this show, we have over, under, just right, self-explanatory. We know that one. We have Poisoned Apple or Pixie Duster, which is the segment we just finished up. We got Story in the Pot. So Story in the Pot is a fun one. And what that is I know who's on the show, and I bring a topic that is just going to set flame to everybody. For instance, telling Shawn that there will be another Walt sometime.
But why change, Keith? There's not going to be another fucking Walt ever. So,
so that's what that is. And then the last segment that we have that we do is, what do you smell when you hear this? Which me and David kind of played earlier. It's not really games, not really change, but instead kind of adding some loose topics that doesn't always get us back to, well, why isn't Disney Disney? And if they're still going to pay, they're still going to pay. It gets us away from those answers and allows us to really get into a solid debate like we just had tonight.
Comment's true.
Is it true? I mean, there's a lot of parentheses on the fourth quarter earning call.
People are going to show up a lot, no matter what, except to come to the movies.
Hey, Shawn, who do you think impacted the world more, Elon Musk or Walt Disney? Don't answer it. You can wrap up the show, Lou.
I don't have a tattoo of Elon Musk, so
that we can see. Hey, Shawn rips open his shirt. He's got the Tesla emblem like Superman.
Big old
right
X
here.
on his chest.
Right here, yeah.
Oh man. Well, guys. So for you guys, those of you guys just joining too or watching, Undisputed. Obviously, if you've watched, this is not our normal Monday, but going forward, this will be our Monday and every other Monday from here on out.
We had a little extra magic hour mishap. Apologize for that. So thank you, Louis, and David for stepping in and just doing this so quickly, because I know this wasn't in the plan. Real quick before we go, also, Disney Dependent will be on with Where in the Park on Wednesday on the live show. We're gonna have some fun, play some Where in the Park. Louis, I think we need to come up with some kind of game too. So, what if Walt gets unfrozen?
I got the perfect response to that. What if Walt gets unfrozen? This is what you do.